Hello, everybody. It's Grizzly from Lexington, Kentucky. Coast to coast, all around the world. Do we have a special guest that is returning today? We are nowhere near finished our conversation from last time, so I brought her back on. We're going to rock it. Grab a drink. Hurry up. Come on, I'm waiting for you. Sit down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, she's coming on. Be prepared. Jennifer, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Long time no see. So how have you been doing?
Oh, I've been hanging in there. I had a little bit of a cold that I had to get rid of over the weekend, but other than that, I'm doing okay.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Northern Minnesota weather is really fast approaching to winter.
Yes, it is. Of course. And you have to say the term or that word winter.
I'm sorry. I just swore on air. I'm so sorry.
So, yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, I'm a 2000 graduate. I graduated in the year 2000, the Y2K scare. Everyone was so scared about that. Did that happen?
I remember that.
No, it didn't happen at all. We're still here.
Yeah, right.
But, through high school, I carried on about 2 to 3 jobs, and I was a football cheerleader, enjoyed my high school years. I went on to graduate for cosmetology, and then I went on to venture throughout the world.
Uh-huh. So what got you into all this paranormal action?
Well, I actually grew up with the paranormal. Like I stated before on the previous show that we had, I had a little girl that lived in our house. Now, this was the farm, First, we lived in a house, in a small little town of St. Hilaire, and then we moved out to the farm, which was probably about maybe 8 miles out, so not very far from the little town. But see, the thing is that I believe back in like the 1700s or 1800s, somewhere around there, I don't know exact time, but there was, it's when they started building the railroad. And it was going through to Canada, but there was a derailment and it caught on fire, and everyone who was on that train unfortunately lost their lives into the river. And I think ever since then, St. Hilaire has been haunted. I believe we've had some paranormal, actually some very well-known paranormal people up here investigating Thief River Falls and St. Hilaire at the same time. And I think that's how she came about, because she looks like, I didn't actually, I didn't actually notice her until I was involved in a really bad car accident in 2013.
Right.
But through my life, and stuff, I saw shadows. And with the shadows that I saw, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. But then It seemed almost the paranormal was following me left and right. See, it got to the point where before my car accident, when I was living at home, I would hear noises upstairs, almost like a ball was being dropped, like a big, almost like I could explain it as a pool ball being dropped and rolled across the floor. And my parents weren't home. Nobody was home. But that got me to the point of being scared to stay at home by myself. And I was maybe 13 years old, and it didn't help that my brother and his friend William at the time, they decided the Scream had just come out, and they decided that they were going to scare the crap out of me. So,
oh, Lori.
They come knock on the window outside and scared the living daylights out of me. And they were living up in we had like a shed that used to be a chicken coop that we had cleaned out, and that was the fort. So they were actually living up there and everything like that, or not living up there, but staying up there overnight and everything for the weekend. And they scared the living daylights out of me. But The phenomenon that happened there is, we still can't explain it to this day. We had a big, huge 17-gallon fish tank, and it just cracked for no apparent reason.
Oh, wow.
And there was like water everywhere. When my parents came home, they were so upset because that fish tank was cracked, and they're like, okay, who threw this in the house? And they're like, we don't know how it got cracked. We would have things that was mysteriously like disappear out of our cupboards. Like my mom would try and find one Thanksgiving, she tried to find her electric blade, to cut the turkey. Couldn't find it nowhere. Nothing. We looked everywhere, tore the whole house apart. The next Thanksgiving, it was put back at the same spot it was at.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It's like little tricksters, But what really got strange about it is that my stepdad was cleaning out by his Quonset, so he had made it into a shop because he was a diesel mechanic, and he found like a finger bone. And that's what scared the crap out of me. Is like, you're actually seeing live evidence here,
Right.
Well, we brought that finger bone inside, and he put it on the stand right next to the TV. And the next day, that finger bone had disappeared, and it had ended up back in the same spot it was at.
Oof.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So, go ahead.
I think the last time we talked, I picked up on some vibes on you that you had some special abilities. How's that coming along?
It actually took a new jolt, is what I want to say. It gave me some kind of a jolt this weekend. I'm not sure what exactly happened. I was giving a back massage. I love doing back massages. And I was giving a back massage to my fiance, Daniel. And it's like I went into a small, like, almost like a meditation. It was just a small one. It wasn't real long. But when I went into meditation, it was like there was purple swirling all around me. And I couldn't figure it out. But then what happened is it's like almost like there was energy so much and heat coming from my body, like, and everything that was going right into his body. And after the process was done and I woke up, I had to lay down because it was like it took me away. It took my breath away. It took my energy away. But the weird thing about it is after laying down for about 10 minutes, I got up and I was like, I had energy like you wouldn't believe the whole entire
Oh,
energy.
wow.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what happened. It might have been my ability to come through. More abilities to come through. Like my grandmother has healing hands. And now that could very well be because she studied it through, there was a nurse, or not a nurse, a nun that actually taught her a little bit more of how to use it. But she had always had these abilities and stuff growing up, and she didn't know what it was. My ancestors had it too. A lot of them would have these premonition kind of dreams, but they didn't want to talk about it. Like some of them scared them really bad.
Oh, well, I can imagine.
Yeah. So she has healing hands where she can actually take the negative energy from a person's body, put it in her own body, and then she either has to shake it off or she'll cough it out or even sometimes burp it out to get it out of her system. Well, I'm thinking what happened is I don't quite know how to use that yet. I have that ability, but I don't know how to get rid of it once it comes into my system.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That might be wearing me down.
Could be.
Yep. So
could be. I think they're having a group participation. I think coming up, aren't they, in October?
Huh?
Them?
Yeah. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I lost you here in just one ear. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure, no problem.
Hold on just 1 second, okay?
Okay.
All right. I lost this in one ear. I can only hear in one ear.
Okay, can you still hear him?
I can hear him faintly, yes.
No, that's fine.
Okay. All right. He said just go ahead with it. So
Oh, okay.
as long as you can hear me and I can hear you.
Yeah,
I'm just working
yeah.
with one ear right now in my headphone for some reason.
Let the technical advisor come in for one moment,
Here
everybody.
comes the technical advisor.
So
Go ahead and
I
play
think
the Gong Show
Faye's
music right
having
now.
something coming up next month for you all, right?
How about now?
Go ahead. What? One more time.
Faye's coming up with something for you all next month, an activity or something.
I believe so. I haven't actually been able to speak with Faye here in a couple of days. Like I said, I've been fighting this cold. I did talk to Holly a little bit, but Holly hasn't really said anything about it neither. I'll have to go and take a look at the past, messages and stuff.
Okay.
I'm hoping so. I mean, I really want to figure out what's going on more with my abilities. I know I have them because, like I said, I've had the ability since I was young, to see things, but they were like only shadow figures. They weren't clear enough until I was in a very bad car accident in 2013, and she actually saved my life. Then after that, I was able to see her physically. But now, see, she's the only one I'm able to see physically. Everything else, I'm able to feel it. And it's like I get goosebumps or the hairs on my, my skin come up and stuff. But I'm not able to actually see them. I'm able to see their shadows, but I'm not able to see them. So I'm wondering if maybe, almost that if she was maybe part of my guardian angel, possibly, that could be a thing going on there. Why I'm able to see her, no one else, but I'm able to feel everyone else, but when I was 20, I had my first, I would say, premonition in a way, feeling, sense. I sensed my grandmother. It was after Thanksgiving. It was the day of Thanksgiving. I just had dinner at my parents' house, and I was heading back home to my town, I think it was Roseau at the time, which is about an hour and a half from where my parents live. Okay. And I sensed that my grandmother, I needed to see her that day. Like something was wrong. And I told my ex-husband now, but he was, my significant other at the time anyway, unfortunately. But I told him that I need to see grandma. Something's wrong. It's not right, And he was always in a hurry and always kind of controlling and everything. It's like, no, just wait until we get home. We'll call her. Okay, this is at 3:30. Then at 4:00, I got a message on my answering machine when I got home saying grandma had passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was one of the premonitions that I've had. I've had other ones where I've actually had kind of in a way dreams, and they've come true like 2 days later. Now,
How do you feel about that?
Yeah. And here's the thing is, I was actually doing some research and found out that I am actually found out by her name is Mazona Shahar. She's a guest that we had a while ago. She was a mystic scientist, and she told me that I come from a real strong gypsy background. Well, I did some research into it a little bit more, and I am related to the gypsies that were in Czechoslovakia, at the time, it would have been way back in the 1900s, because my great grandparents came here in 1910. Okay. Otherwise, they lived in Czech Republic, and
Right.
the gypsies came from that era. And I'm doing some research and trying to understand a little bit more about gypsies. A lot of gypsies had premonitions, and they didn't know, a lot of them also had the thought that they were so much into God that they thought that these things were evil coming to them. They didn't know how to deal with them at that time, But the way I see it is I embrace it as a gift. Like it is something that has been passed on to me from generation to generation. And my ability of understanding it is stronger than ever. I don't look at it as the fact of betraying God or anything like that. I look at it as embracing everything, embracing what God gave me, embracing what God has for everyone. Everyone has the ability. They just have to figure out what their special gift is.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Yep. And that's what I'm thinking on it.
So how has that affected your life since you found out about this?
Well, I've always been into astronomy. When I was in ninth grade, I made actually a solar system out of a lamp, and I used the light as the sun. I used a light indicator, and according to how the planets were rotating at the time, I determined which planet got the most sun. And it actually shows that the one furthest away from the sun, you think it's the one closest to the sun that would have got the most sun? No, it's the one furthest away. So it was Pluto at the time that got the most sun. Well, I won a certificate from the United States Air Force and a medal. And after that, I kind of pursued a little bit more further into the astronomy of how it worked. I also wanted to pursue a little bit more about what was happening to me in my 20s after I graduated from high school. So I learned a little bit more about astrology. And so that's one of the things that I actually do on one of our broadcasts called NTR Daily. And we'll talk about the horoscopes, things associated with your zodiac, and other things among that, and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I really like, that I'm able to express that ability to other people. And now I've been told by one of the ladies in the group, I don't know if she wants to be mentioned or anything, but I was told by her that I need to embrace what I have, and I need to do like tarot reading. I need to learn crystals, things like that. So that's my next plan, is to learn how to. I've been reading a little bit on numerology, kind of how to work that. So now it'll be how to do tarot readings along with, crystals, and even pendulums, and stuff. She said that would be good to try and work on figuring out how to do that. She said, because your ability, you can work on using it physically, like what you're doing with your hands and stuff, but you want to understand what you actually have the ability to do. And when you're using the tarot cards and among other things, it brings out your abilities stronger.
That makes sense.
That's my next plan, is to work on that. A lot of research.
Yeah. How do you feel about all that?
I'm excited. I'm excited to see where my journey goes.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I have been told by a super soldier. Now, I don't know if you've heard of them. Apparently, these are people that are put on the earth that are able to help. They're like associated with the ETs in a way. They're almost like a hybrid type thing. There's many of them out there and stuff. People have been doing research on super soldiers for many, many years. Well, I was told by one that we were going to have on our show, but it turned out that they had some issues and we weren't able to have them on at the time. But they had said that I have a chore, or I have a goal that I have to do by the end of my lifetime. And every obstacle you take is another stepping stone to what needs to be complete. And they had said that in time, the Galactic Federation is going to connect with the human race. Okay. And what they want to do is they want to do like a galactic integrational connection, basically, where they want to eventually let us know that, we can be part ET in a sense, and we can live on to other planets and all that other kind of stuff. It's all part of a big, huge plan at the end of this lifetime, because they know that our Earth is dying. So they're trying to get everyone ready for this big, huge plan. And I'm supposed to be one of the ones that brings it forward. Like, I was told that what I'm doing here as a radio co-host is exactly what I need to do. And the reason I need to do this is I need to bring awareness that this is out here, And you are not alone. There's other people out there as well. And it's only one big plan that is coming very soon. And everyone needs to kind of get on the same page.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought that up because I was watching a television show talking about that, and it's talking about most of the aliens or ETs, however you want to describe them, say that they come in peace and that we are killing ourselves and killing the world with our manufacturing and, of course, wars, and how they can manipulate the nuclear warheads and the silos, which they did, back in the 60s, I think.
Right.
So they are interfering with some of the things that the world is trying not to do, but is going to do. That's why their presence is a lot more known on Earth than it has been before. So it's really interesting that you brought that up that way.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, okay, so Elon Musk wants to try and get us all on Mars. And I have stated this before that I've been a contactee by, I think it's the Palladians, but I'm not quite sure. Okay. Or the Palladians, however somebody wants to pronounce it. Okay. But anyways, his name is Igon, and he has told me that there is going to be a time where we're all going to need to be on different planets, not the same planet, just different planets in general. But our DNA by itself cannot live on those planets because of the atmosphere. So there is a time where we're all going to end up changing into almost like a hybrid species, or have, at least some of their DNA, which is a form of hybrid, yes, but not completely turn over to ET. We'll still have our physical, form and stuff as a human. It will just have some of their DNA inside as well. But that allows us to be able to live on their planets.
Is that why that women are being abducted and being impregnated, then the fetus being removed before it's born?
I think so, because honestly, to tell you the truth, a lot of them are born without reproductive systems. So they can't populate their planet, and their planet is dying. So I believe with the way the abductions are working, I believe that they are impregnating these people as having so they can have hybrid babies to continue their civilization.
That makes sense. A lot of people doesn't believe in stuff that we're talking about.
No.
But unfortunately, we're seeing stuff more and more on TV that's breaking things down, and the government's releasing paperwork and forms and documentation. And they've known this since way back in the 30s and 40s. So it's interesting that you bring that up compared to the show I watched, because it's almost identical in what you're saying, what they're saying.
Well, think about it. Okay, another thing is that I've watched what was it, the multi-universe, of Doctor Strange last night again. And it almost looks like the way things are put together is that we're all living in a different multi-universe. We can die in one universe, but we can still live on in another universe. Now, here's the thing is, okay, now, does it get to the point where there's a big, huge nuclear war coming, like a lot of people think? Okay, do we die on this universe, but yet we go and we spread ourselves to another universe where we live on these planets, like I say, like I had suggested and stuff like that. And, we have their DNA. We could very well die, and our spirit could intertwine with them, and instead of being hybrid, we could almost turn out to be their species. We don't know, but I'm not one to preach religion. I can't do that because of the fact that I'm not authorized to do that. But I am going to suggest something: is everyone has their own religion. Okay. Now, there are a lot of people out there that say in near-death experiences that they have seen God, but they don't talk about how they've seen him physically. They talk about how they have seen him spiritually. And spiritually would be like a source, a big, huge light. But you have an overabundant amount of light where there's love and purity, and it's just the brightest light that you've ever seen. It makes you kind of euphoric and everything, and you don't want to go back to this life. But some people have to, there's no other way around it, But the way I'm saying is like our cycles are all kind of put together for us, okay? From the day that we're born to the day that we're put on earth, whether we come from, God itself, or whether God creates the ETs and we're actually from ETs, who knows how, religion even is about, because all we understand is the information that we have been told. Okay. And that's the thing. But what I'm saying is that, okay, so it's like in the Doctor Strange, the multi-universe, there are lots of signs there that talk about how I believe they have known about this for quite a long time. I believe they do know how to travel from universe to universe. I believe it's through the black holes. That's why they're trying to create a black hole here on Earth. They're not being very successful, but they're trying to. But yet they're also opening portals, and these portals are allowing the Bigfoot to come through. They're allowing the cryptids to come through, as wrong. Also, like let's see, ghosts. Ghosts could very well be coming through them. Even the dynamic could come through these portals. We don't know because we haven't been over to that other side, but we do know that with all the research going on and with everyone's ability to connect to the other side, that there is more beyond this universe, beyond our solar system, and beyond our planet.
I mean, you're right. I mean, there's other solar systems out there that are comparatively just like ours. Mm-hmm. But the way that I understood it, no matter if you travel through this speed of light, mm-hmm. from their worlds to our worlds, it will still take over 100-something years. So that's where they're using the black holes and portals to get here quickly.
Yep, it's like a loophole.
Yep, that is correct.
Yep, and is Bigfoot, you got to think about it. Is Bigfoot actually a creature? Yeah, we're seeing it as a creature, but what do you think it might actually be? It might actually just be a spiritual being coming through a different portal.
Well, then you got the flesh and blood groups, and they argue with the spiritual groups, and mm-hmm. And unfortunately, nobody's an expert. We're all, theorizing off our own experience.
But why are we so afraid to go further beyond our imagination? I mean, because of the fact that we were told from the very beginning, since we were born, that these things don't exist.
That is correct, by the scientist. Yeah. And not only that, I talked to a reverend that I've been trying to get on my team, mm-hmm. and he's joined, and he's a paranormal investigator, reverend.
Okay.
He's also a medium.
Oh, nice.
He's been doing this since 1982. Mm-hmm. So I got to get him on the show to get him to co-host some shows as well. And it's going to be real interesting, because when I was talking to him about the Bible, the first thing he said is stop right there. He's like, there's so many missing books out of the Bible. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you don't know who wrote them. Mm-hmm. It could have been anybody. And I'm just sitting there shock and awe hearing this from a reverend, mm-hmm. when they're supposed to be preaching from the good Lord's word. Right. And for everybody out there that's listening, we're not downgrading or disgracing anybody's religion or faith. So I do believe God said that he made animals seen and unseen.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, he probably made ETs and everything else. And I mean, who knows? Who knows how far it goes?
Right. We won't know actually how far it goes until it's our turn to leave this planet and venture out to new beginnings, other places. That's when we'll understand. Our conscious mind is able to fathom through meditation a little bit more and touch base on the spiritual world, but we don't know, we don't understand as a human, human concept. We don't understand. We think that, okay, like for instance, remember when I told you, like, I saw shadows growing up, but it was really this this ghost, this paranormal that was happening in the house, where I thought it was just my eyes playing tricks on me because I didn't understand. The thing is that we're afraid to open up our mind and understand more.
Oh, that's true. And that's also being scientifically proven.
Mm-hmm.
From some of the doctrines that I've read and also watched.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
The human beings get in this rut, and which I call a routine, and they do the same thing every day, day in and day out.
Yeah.
And it's the ones that can go outside, enjoy the forest, enjoy the world, feel the warmth of the sun, are the ones that have the capabilities to think beyond.
Yep.
And also have certain abilities inside that are slowly being released. That's
Yeah.
my
Right. Yeah. And you could very well be correct on that. You think about it, is it possible that when Jesus Christ was around, is it possible that they had help from the ETs? I mean, they talk about how they saw things come from the sky that was just, they couldn't even imagine, and stuff like that. I think that it has always been out there. It's just we have to accept it. We have to accept that it's out there, and we have to choose if we want to look more into it, where we don't want to be just the same old species where it's just one set thing, one set way. That is it. That's the way the government wants us to be, but that's not the way as our collective mind works and as our soul intertwines with it. We know deep down inside that there is more, but there are a lot of people out there that are listening to what we have grown up with, and they don't want to venture out. They don't want to understand more. And if we only just stop to think that we could open up a big, huge portal ourselves just by using our mind, not by just waiting for the scientists and all them to open up the portal. We could do it ourselves just by collecting our minds together and working together.
I believe in that. And looking at the ancient civilizations, the Mayans,
The Egyptians.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Aztecs.
the
It seems like every
holographics, that
it
shows a
seems,
lot right there.
it seems like every ancient civilization got wiped off the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching a show where they were speaking about that, how they would have millions of people in the city, and they all just disappeared.
Right. And that's because it could very well be that they were practicing spiritual back then, and they opened up this portal and they disappeared that way. It could be that it was just their time to disappear, and there's like so many different phenomenons out there that just are unexplainable of how these things happen. You know, okay, what we understand is Atlantis, for instance. We understand that Atlantis sunk. But some people have done research and found out that Atlantis had this stone. And this stone was so powerful that it overtook the whole entire town. And that's how it sunk. You know, some people believe, you know, in Greek mythology, and that there were actually gods and goddesses and Zeus and all them, you know. We don't know because we didn't live back then.
That's true.
We are just
And
living in
you know,
society today.
well, and if you stop and think, you know, there's an island, I forgot where, in, I want to say South Pacific
Mm-hmm.
or Atlantic Ocean. It's somewhere out there, and somebody can correct me and beep in. Where when they first saw the airplanes during World War II that flew over, they thought it was a sign from God. They thought it was God. So they built bushels of hay
Yeah.
into the shape of an airplane and washed it and worshipped it.
Yep. Yep.
So, you know, when you have things that people don't understand, chariots of fire, you know, you look on the petroglyphs,
Mm-hmm.
however you want to say it, in the paintings where they had helicopters, airplanes,
Tanks.
bombs,
Yeah. Tanks. Yeah.
You know, they were trying to describe to us what they saw and what was going on. And it was proven back in, what was it, the 1600s? There was a war between the aliens up in Earth
Mm-hmm.
atmosphere because somebody painted it. And the war between, you know, the machines and the people in different, I guess, machines, you'd call it again. But,
Right.
you know, how they shot fiery flames out and how they
Yep.
exploded and so forth. And, you know, I mean, people are just not making this stuff up.
No.
They're actually portraying what they are seeing.
Yep. Yep.
So, I mean, to me, it's real fascinating. It's
Well,
always
yeah.
happening.
I mean, and you think about, okay, the Salem witch trials. Why did they actually go on trial? Because people back then didn't understand what witchcraft was all about. They didn't understand, you know, they thought it was all evil and everything, where, you know, we don't know. You know, we were just told back then that there were witches, and that's why, you know, they died, you know, they were hung, you know, or burned to death, you know, and stuff. But, you know, those Salem witch trial people might have been able to, they might have been practicing to learn their abilities at that time. You know what I mean? But it's all different to us. Anytime something is different to us, we're afraid to go ahead and embrace it. We you know, Art Bell, the late Art Bell says, fear is the greatest motivator. And that is absolutely true. Fear is the greatest motivator. You know, and I think the government understands that too. That's why they don't want us learning these kind of things, understanding, or even teaching these kind of things. I mean, they'll ban you for the craziest stuff these days.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know if we'll ever find a real answer. You know, I think that's just going to be beyond our imagination to find that real answer. Psychics and mediums, along with spiritual healers and seers and all those, you know, categories, they can kind of gather an understanding a little bit more beyond our consciousness right now as a physical being. They understand the spiritual consciousness a little bit more, but the only thing is, what I'm saying is, I don't think we'll ever get to that ability where we'll be able to understand beyond our imagination.
Well, you know, it's wild because I was at my parents' house this weekend, and the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind was on.
Yeah.
With Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah.
I think it's how you say his name. Yeah. And it talked about how the government was involved in that motion picture and what was allowed, what was not allowed. And then you look at Independence Day with Will Smith, and it was scrubbed 13 times from the government before it was actually released into production for a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it are they holding back? They don't want us to know, don't want us to learn,
Mm-hmm.
don't want us to expand on. You know, where does the line in the sand is drawn to where enough's enough?
You know, and I don't know if they'll ever get to that answer. The way I see it is that, you know, we're going to either expand, those people that spiritually believe are going to be able to expand to other planets, to beyond their solar system, you know, all over. And excuse me, those who don't believe, like the government and everything, they're going to stay back and they're going to destroy themselves. And what's going to happen is then another generation is going to build many, many years ago, obviously, 200,000, maybe 200 million years later. You know, we don't know, because time is just, it's just a concept. We came up with time. Time does not matter in the other realms, you know? And
Right.
so it could be to us 2,000 years ago or 2,000 years later, there could be a new civilization on Earth rebuilding and everything like that. And they could be going through the same cycle all over again, where you're getting the dictators that want to control the normal people, you know, and don't want them to know a little bit more. Or you could very well end up living in a place where everyone is AI technology. You know, we don't know. We don't know.
And is that why the government has all the different DNA on file in a vault underneath the mountain for future?
You know, I really didn't hear
Civilization.
about that one. I'm gonna have to research that one a little bit more. But if that's possible, if you're saying that is true, then I would say yes. I mean, they're holding our DNA to make us into whatever they want us to be.
Yeah, Google that. And if you can't find it on Google, there's another one that came out with. It's called DuckDuckGo.
Yeah, I heard that.
It's supposed to be unfiltered like Google. Google is starting to mask stuff for us to only see what they want us to see, allegedly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So DuckDuckGo is not filtered at all.
And
But
is this why the paranormal is coming out more and more? Excuse me, we're seeing more and more of the ghosts and everything like that come out, is because of the fact that maybe they're warning us that there is more out here. You guys just need to, you know, stop listening to the government. You need to realize what they're going to do to you. You don't know. You don't know. But they're being seen more and more. And it's not just the ghosts and the paranormal. It's the ETs, too, that are being seen more and more.
well, I mean, you talk about the government. I mean, you can go back and look at Vietnam War and how they gave the people in the military LSD to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the New York subways, how the military released that certain gas. I forgot what it was called, and forgive me for not knowing. And tested it on people. Uh-oh.
What's that?
I think we must have hit a nerve with somebody because it changed our screen. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. That was crazy.
Yeah. So we must be hitting a nerve somewhere.
Well, you know that was it tear gas that they used a lot?
It was some kind of nerve agent or something. I can't remember the actual word or the term it was used for, but they actually used it on us, the civilians, to see how would we actually react.
Well, you know, you think about it, that's what they're doing with the chemtrails.
Yeah, they still can't explain that.
No.
And the you know, when I was growing up, we didn't have chemtrails.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what my grandmother said too. You know, back then they never had the chemtrails. Now they do. And I think it's because they found a way to poison us, you know, silently in a way.
Could be.
You know, to poison our minds. poison
Could be.
everything about us. I mean, why do you think that back in let's see, before Christ, or even after, that there wasn't a whole lot of disease that we hear about?
Nope.
In the Egyptians, was there a lot of disease that we hear about with the Egyptians?
Not that I'm aware of.
Greek mythology, there wasn't a whole lot of disease that we hear about there. I mean, yeah, there was here about Poseidon like getting all pissed off and causing all these storms and everything like that on people, raving havoc on people, and Zeus, changing people into certain things, and disguising himself to be a little trickster, and impregnate the actual people,
Right.
but there was no disease. You might hear no disease back then. Why all of a sudden is there a lot of disease?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, some people blame it on the processed foods. Some people blame it on the chemicals we use in the households to clean.
Mm-hmm.
Some believe that it's the bacon that we eat because of the grease. But you stop and look at our grandparents, what did they eat all the time? Bacon, eggs, ham.
Yeah, because that's how they lived off of the land too. And it's safe for them to live off of the land, where nowadays we find out that, okay, so if you buy something that is like off of the land, well, let's see, we grow strawberries, okay? We're finding out that these strawberries are like tainted with stuff, and we can get sick from them now. Ebola is coming out like crazy lately. When back in the Indian history, in the Native American history, they lived off the land. They created was it my dad was telling me about this the other day. It was called chochai or chai chong or something like that, where it's actually like a birch, piece of birch from the birch tree, and they put it in tea and they sipped that and they drank that every single day, and that stopped them from getting sick. There's lots of things. I mean, we can learn a lot from the Native Americans of how they lived.
Yeah, we sure can. But when is it going to take people to wake up and realize what's going on in the world?
Well, a nuclear war, unfortunately, sad to say. That's probably what it is. I mean, we've corrupted the world so much that there's just no way of saving it, I don't think. We just we pray to our God or pray to whoever we believe, and hope that he will spare us the pain and the agony, and maybe allow us to live a better life on a different planet somewhere else.
Well, it's true. That's why the United Nations was formed, to govern the world on what they can and cannot do, what they shall and shall not do.
Yeah.
But has it actually stopped anybody? No.
No, there's too much corruptness in the world. There's too much people who want to be dictators, and that did happen way back in the Persians, when it was even the Spartans. When the Spartans were around, you had a whole bunch of rulers that wanted to rule the whole world. They wanted to be in power, and it just kind of grew more and more. It just spread out more and more. As the centuries start growing up, and stuff, it just went. You know what I mean? And now everybody wants to be in power somehow, whether it's China, whether it's Japan, whether it's Korea, whether it's Russia, whether it's America. Everybody wants to have their foot in that power. You know what I mean? They want to have their ability to have that little bit of power, because then they feel in control. They don't want everyone to lose control. And some people may think, okay, well, Russia's powerful than us, or we're powerful than Russia, or China's powerful than us. No, everyone is equal in a way, because everybody is using that power in the same way.
Yeah, and they also have the same nuclear weapons too.
Yeah.
So It's amazing how I watched Ronald Reagan, not as I was younger, but also through the years, how he talks about if an alien race came to Earth causing war,
Mm-hmm.
how we would put aside all of our differences and come together as one.
Right.
I mean, presidents didn't talk about UFOs or extraterrestrials for no reason. They were talking because they had knowledge of it.
Yep. Yep. And their power is they may think people may think that they have power over us in all general, but what they have is they have their power they're using for the technology of the good, is what I want to say, because they don't want all of this fighting. They want peace, they want love, they want happiness. And their power that they're using, they're putting it into all of this technology that we don't have, that they want to share with us. A lot of people think like when the ETs, they come around, they actually come down to Earth, they're going to invade us, they're going to take our supply of food, they're going to take our oxygen, they're going to kill us off.
They were going to do that, and it had already been done.
Exactly. I don't believe, this is what I believe now, I'm not saying you have to believe it, but I don't believe that is the case. I believe that if they do come here, they are going to welcome us, they are going to intertwine with us, and they are going to show us their technology.
Which I think they already have to a certain extent when it comes to technology.
Oh, yes. Oh, over in the past. Yeah. In the past with the Egyptians writing that on the wall, seeing the helicopters, tankers, everything like that. Even building the pyramids, that was not done by just the Egyptians. You can't sit there and tell me they were. A lot of people would say it's a waterlog thing. Like they shot, logs through water, up to build them. No. It couldn't possibly be. It couldn't possibly be. To make it that precise and everything, it could not possibly be shooting a water log up.
No, I mean, I agree with you. There's a lot of things in Egyptian times that, no matter what we do today, we cannot recreate it.
Right.
Even with the machines we have.
And then you think about it, okay, so they mummified back in the Egyptian time. Why didn't we continue that on through our whole entire ability? Like when a person, passes on and stuff like that, why didn't we mummify them? Why did they mummify them? Because they felt that their spirit would go to a better place and it was more sacred. So why did we stop that pattern? Why didn't we go forward with it? Well, because of the simple fact that they probably, like I said, were contacted by the ETs, and they told them what would happen if they mummified their body. Now, after that, a person who dies, and stuff like that, after the Egyptian era went away, nobody really knew about why it was being done. All they can hear is that, it was a sacred thing that they believed in and stuff, but they don't know. They weren't there. They don't know if the ETs told them, hey, you have to do this.
I mean, you're right.
We're losing little things as we go through our future.
But once again, where you draw the line?
I don't know. I think that's all up to whoever created us.
I mean, you got a good point on that. That's for sure.
I mean, why all of a sudden, why did they choose me to start seeing these things? Why did they choose me to feel the spirits around me? Why are they choosing me to heal people? I cannot answer that.
Yeah, well, back then you'd have been called a witch. You'd have burned at the stake.
Yeah. Jesus, the thing that really I don't quite understand is, okay, so back in the day, Jesus died for our sins. Supposedly, that's what we were told. He died for our sins, okay? But yet we still kept on sinning. We didn't let that one man's life affect us. We kept on going. Why didn't we stop? And that makes you wonder, why didn't we stop? There is no indefinite answer. There is no indefinite answer if Jesus actually made us, or if we came from the heavens and the earth, or if we came from the sky. There's no definite answer. And I don't know, like I said, we could do all the research we want out there scientifically. I don't think we're ever going to find it.
Well, I mean, you can bring David Koresh and some other people's involved.
Mm-hmm.
And, they thought they were the prophets from God. And, and I'm not saying against anybody's religion, Jesus was not.
Right.
I don't want anybody to think that that's what Grizzly's saying. But, only thing we're doing is putting what ifs in people's minds and have them expand on that.
Yep.
And try to think outside the box.
Yep. And could it be a way of just growing our consciousness more and more? Like, when we're born, we got a small little consciousness, and then you keep throwing all this information in, and stuff, and just grows and grows and grows and grows to the big, huge picture whenever it's supposed to come.
Well, and like you said, we were forced and ate what we were told to eat and learn and taught.
We were taught to farm. We were taught to farm. That was the very beginning, is when it all started. If you talk about our ancestors and everything, you talk about the Native Americans, they were all taught to farm, live off the earth. Okay. Why did it expand further? And did we come with this processed food, beyond our farming? Why did the big tech companies come about? Everything like that. Power.
Yeah. Always said, follow the money.
Yeah. But, people don't realize that those people that have the spiritual ability to actually do things, they have power too. And that's spiritual power. So they need to use that as well.
Well, the government diddle with that back in, the 60s and 70s with what was it called, where they would think and try to figure out what the other enemy was doing.
MK.
Yeah.
And remote viewing.
Thank you. So,
why did they quit that all of a sudden?
Did they really?
The CIA and all of them, they quit it. They don't use it anymore. They don't use that technology anymore that we know of anyway, I'm going to say. But, if they don't use that technology anymore, why? Why did they stop it? Because they found out it was working? And they were afraid of it, maybe?
It works.
Yeah. You think about it. If we have remote viewing so much intact right now, today, as we did way back then, we would know what Putin's next move was. Right now, we don't even use remote viewing. Some people are considered shams and falsified information, through this remote viewing and stuff like that, where all actuality, all it is them trying to use their spiritual ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't kept up with Putin, what he's been trying to do lately, so I have no idea.
Oh, he's trying to nuke us. Let's just say that he's trying to destroy the world, get it all done, reset everything, and who knows? Maybe it is that time, maybe it is our time for another nuclear explosion to happen. We don't know, but we ourselves have no one else to blame. We can't blame just one person. We have to blame all of ourselves, because we are the ones that are destroying ourselves. Over time, we have done it, not just one person.
And that is correct. And that's where the aliens come involved. And they think that they are going to prevent the nuclear war from theories. from destroying mankind. So,
And maybe that's why when a person is abducted, that they mark that person in some way. And so they are understanding that they've already talked to those people, and maybe those are the people that they will come back and take right before the nuclear explosion goes off. We don't know.
no, we sure don't.
Yeah.
It's all theories and theoretical views.
Yeah, but everyone that supposedly has been abducted has three dots, whether it's in a triangle or a line or whatever, and stuff. That indicates that they had some kind of technology almost put inside them. I think it's a tracking device. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, they actually proven it before when they try to remove some of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they got it out, it did emit a radio frequency. But I mean, there's no telling anymore. I mean, from what is realistic and which is not, what is fake and fiction, and and nonfiction. It just blows your mind. You watch ancient civilizations, and you wonder what if, and their theories and so forth. And I don't know. I mean, it's a long line.
But would you go nuts not knowing anything? I mean, if you're put on this earth and you don't know anything at all, past, history, future, nothing, you would go completely nuts. You would wonder, what is your purpose in the first place? Why are you even here? Where did you evolve? Did you evolve from the Big Bang Theory? Are you just, dust, basically? I mean, what? You don't know. So these things have to be put out on Earth for some reason, and some people had to have had the help to do it, to start it, so people understand a little bit more and have something to believe in.
And that's why back then they took records down and painted pictures and picture glyphs and so forth.
Yeah.
To try to tell the people from the future, what they endured and went through and what they had. And
honestly, to tell you the truth, I would love to know the future. I would love to know what is going to happen, because I'm such a curious person that I have to know what's to come, but the fact is, does a person really want to know their future? That's the thing. Maybe they might not get the answer they want, and that can affect their previous life right here. I mean, it's a big, huge, I would say, a paradox in a way. I mean, it's what ahead of you is probably something more destructive than what behind you.
That's true. I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really can.
Yep.
It really makes you wonder about a lot of things, and and the more you wonder, the more questions that you have. So that's for sure.
Well, what was that timer for?
Oh, that wasn't a timer. It's somebody trying to call in on the show.
Oh, you don't want to take any calls?
No, not today.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, we will on the next one.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Yeah. I usually advertise when we take calls.
Oh, I see. So you have any questions for me?
No. You probably answered all my questions. I just wanted to learn your theories and your thoughts. Now, from my understanding, that you had a plug for somebody, didn't you?
I do. I have two of them, actually. I'll talk a little bit about Night Talks Daily and Night Talks Radio, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, so Night Talks Radio is a live paranormal, UFO, UAP, spiritual, conspiracy theory, very conservative. Okay. Informative broadcast. Okay. Now we also have Night Talks Daily. Okay. Night Talks Daily is more laid back. It's more conservative news, updates, breaking or developing stories, plenty of quite, entertaining information. I mean, we do a lot of in-depth discussions, and at the same time we have fun, you know. And that is actually being showed here. Let's see. It's going to be aired Tuesday through Thursday at 11:35 p.m. Central Standard Time by Spreaker.com. And we will actually have it posted on our Night Talks Radio Facebook page. So if you can check into Night Talks Radio Facebook page, and you can go ahead and you can follow us there, as well as the Night Talks Radio live show with the guests is on Saturday and Sunday nights at 11:05 p.m. Central Standard Time. But it all depends on where they are located at in the country-wise. If they have to start earlier, then it'll be 9:05.
Right.
So we ask that you watch our Facebook page as well, and your pages too. I believe it's on your pages as well. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
And we actually have teamed up with, it's called GentleLadyBoutiques.com. So GentleLadyBoutique.com. And what it is it's a 1920s theme shop for, obviously, for the ladies. So if anyone likes their 1920s dresses or anything, I would recommend to go on there and take a look around. They have hats, they have jewelry, they have dresses, you know, a whole bunch of sorts of things. And if you actually go on and you find the link where it talks about Night Talks Radio listeners, then you will be able to go ahead and get a 10% discount, and anything over $50 is free shipping.
Oh, wow.
And then 5% of their sales strictly for you guys, our listeners, you know, will go directly back into Night Talks.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. So it helps out everyone, in the same thing. It also helps them out because they're very conservative. They came about because they didn't believe in the mask mandate. So it's a mother-daughter boutique. And like I said, a lot of very interesting articles of clothing, you know, mostly dresses, but very beautiful dresses of the 1920s.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and I got an announcement to make too. You ain't gonna believe this. Grizzly and Sportcast. Did I say his name right? I'm sorry, Glenn. Sportcat. They're starting another podcast show Wednesday from, I think, 2 or noon to 2. It's gonna be laid back. It's not gonna talk about paranormal. It's gonna be smack talk. What comes, comes. What goes, goes. We'll have weird news, weird stories. So it's going to be interesting. He finally talked me into it. So we're going to give it a shot. And a lot of our interviewees, like you all that we had on this show, will probably bring you back and talk about non-related stuff that we talked about on this show. You know, talk a little more about political views and stuff that Democrats don't like to hear, but that's another time. But if you'd like to be on Grizzly's show, all you have to do is email Grizzly at grizzlytheparanormal@gmail.com. Once again, that's grizzlytheparanormal@gmail.com. Jennifer, it's always been a pleasure. I look forward to hearing and seeing more of you all.
Oh, yes.
And I think tomorrow, I got your fiance, don't I?
Yes, Daniel's coming on tomorrow with some interesting stuff. Now, it's interesting that you talk about like the non-paranormal and things like that. Actually, that's kind of what he's going to talk about tomorrow, if that's okay on your show.
No, I don't care.
All right. Okay.
Hey.
Because he already touched base on the paranormal before last time. So he doesn't have a whole lot of paranormal.
We don't have red tape on this show. We don't have government, shutting us up. So
Right.
That's right. But ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the day. We must go. So I want to make sure and say from coast to coast, around the world, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. And I'll see you tonight on my next live show. Been excellent.